Two grumpy critics.
There's something about Scotland that makes it produce some decidedly substandard actors. I mean, take Sean Connery. Easily.
Miss Moneypenny.
Yes, I'd like a request for Miss Moneypenny. Easily the granddaddy when it comes to Scottish actors. Certainly the most recognisable of them all. But can he act? Be honest, not really. I mean,
one ping only, Vasily.
It's not exactly amateur night in Dixie, I'll give him that much. But when was the last time you saw Sean Connery in a movie and you said, wow, Sean Connery was great in that? Mm-hmm. Never, I'll bet. In fact, it's more than likely you would say, wow, Sean Connery was in that, and then just leave it there. And don't bring up the James Bond movies, because if we're talking about being labelled as consistent, and I mean that as a thinly veiled insult, the never-ending James Bond franchise takes the cake, or the martini, or whatever it is he drinks in those films. Example number 2 is Gerard Butler. Has there ever been a jammier Scotsman to have crawled out of the country clutching as little talent as Gerard Butler? The acting is stiff and wooden. His films tank for the most part, yet he still gets parts. Remember Andy Kaufman's starring debut in a movie? Of course you don't. It was called Heartbeeps, and it was rubbish. That was in the days when one movie tanked and you got blacklisted as box office herpes for the rest of your life. Remember the movie Neighbours starring John Belushi? Of course you don't, because it tanked and he became box office herpes. One shot, you're out. Gerard Butler is like a cat with a cheat code for lives beyond the 9. So how is it then that Scottish people who can act, people who have talent, are lesser known than Messrs Connery and Butler, which sounds a bit like a law firm? Connery and Butler, attorneys at law. Get the money you deserve.
How you hurt in an accident?
Have you damaged your money penny? How is it that these people who can act aren't front and centre in Hollywood? And I speak specifically of a fine fellow called Douglas Henschel, who helms a BBC series called Shetland. I first saw Henschel in an episode of the British cop soap called The Bill, in which he played a fellow who had apparently shoved his former girlfriend and their child off an apartment block balcony. Now, to say that this nuanced, intense performance was stunning doesn't do it justice, particularly since he was 19 at the time. You know what I was doing at 19? I was getting drunk whilst broadcasting on hospital radio, pretending to be a shock jock and avoiding getting a proper job. That was my 19-year-old. How many people said wow to my performance? I'll tell you exactly how many people heard it. If I took my headphones off, the listening figures were cut in half. That's how many people heard it. Second time I saw Henschel was in what became one of my favourite Scottish movies of all time, a Peter Mullen film called Orphans. Henschel's character is stabbed at the beginning and avoids seeking help through the night the film takes place, bleeding out and getting more and more dizzy and weak and boss-eyed due to lack of blood as he navigates the night before his mother's funeral. Everyone was great in Orphans, but Henschel was particularly brilliant. The bar scene with fellow Scottish superstar Alex Norton, as the angry owner, is a highlight and a half of that movie. It is phenomenal. But to what I was going to talk about, and that is Shetland, the BBC drama that's available on Netflix in the US, and I believe also in the UK. New Zealand, as always, your results may vary. The newest season of Shetland, number 4, should still be available on the UK's iPlayer if you hurry, as of the time of transmission. Shetland is a police procedural set on the Scottish islands of, wait for it, Shetland. And each season runs the course of one case each. Like Orphans, Shetlands is blessed with an ensemble cast that oozes brilliance. Not one member of the group lets the side down. Like the islands themselves, the show is filmed with a dazzling grey filter, adding extra grey onto the grey that's already there. The wind blows, the rain streaks, and the atmosphere is, to use the vernacular, dreich. Perfect weather for solving murders. Henschel, again, shines in his role as widower D.I. Jimmy Perez, plodding around in the weather, perpetually sad and bothered by life on the whole. If Henschel mastered the intense performance in the earlier parts of his career, he's got understated and miserable down pat in Shetland. Which isn't to say there aren't flashes of anger, and when there are a joy to behold. But don't just watch for the performances, which help, because the series can't be made on quality acting. The scripts are watertight and the direction is brilliant, showing the islands for what they are. Sometimes beautiful, sometimes barren, unusually wet, undoubtedly cold. 5 easy trips to Norway out of 5.
Nice.
Yes.
Sounds really nice.
It's fantastic. Well worth watching.
So it's that great, and Tim Burton didn't have a hand in it.
Right. Well, no, you can tell that Tim Burton didn't have a hand in it because Helena Bonham Carter doesn't make an appearance.
Oh, okay.
A Radio 6 international production from the USA. Copyright 2018.